Hi, my name is Taylor Hammond, and I'm 20 years old, and I was first diagnosed with Perthes disease when I was 9 in the right head of my femur. I was on crutches for 2 years to let it heal, and it eventually regrew, but it's not perfect. It's kind of like an oval shape, so it does cause pain now and then. Um, I went back to gymnastics. I was a competitive gymnast, and I went back to gymnastics when I was 15. Well, in grade 10, uh, I think I was probably 15. The same thing happened in my other hip, in my left femur. But this time, what they did was they drilled a hole, um, two holes actually, in the near the head of the femur, to kind of promote blood flow. Because if you don't know what Perthes disease is, or if you do, if you have it and you're watching this because of that, you'll know what it is. You know, the blood doesn't flow to the head of the femur. So what their experimental procedure was is that, if you drilled a hole in the head of the femur, then blood would naturally go up there to heal it. So they tried that. It was supposed to be had a 13% success rate. It turned out to be 100% success rate. So, but I still was on crutches for about a year and a half to let the head of the femur regrow. But I was older, so the chances of something going wrong in this hip were probably likely. But anyways, I'm now in my third year of university. I'm almost halfway through my third year of university, and I've started experiencing kind of like a locking pain. Well, it kind of like felt like my left hip, which is the one that I got Perthes disease in when I was older, when I was 15. Anyways, so the locking pain that I've been feeling, it kind of feels like you just can't really move it. You have a really limited range of motion, and it really, really hurts until you feel like you kind of get it back into like the normal position. It kind of feels like it's being dislocated, and then once it's back in like normal position, then it's fine. Like it doesn't hurt anymore. Anyways, that got progressively worse, and then the other pain that I started feeling was it was intermittent though, okay, but then it started happening more and more, and then eventually what happened was it felt, when I was sitting down, it felt like the bottom of my femur, or the head of my femur was kind of like rubbing on the chair, like, or whatever I was sitting on. It felt like it was rubbing. It was this rubbing, irritating pain, which eventually progressed to, it wouldn't hurt when I was standing or walking, which eventually progressed to just pain all the time, chronic pain. It's been chronic for about, I'd say about 2 or 3 weeks now, maybe even 4, where it never stops hurting. But when I was first experiencing that locking pain, I did go down to Toronto, Mount Sinai, and they did an MRI. It's a special MRI. It specifically looks at the cartilage of your joint. They don't have very many of them. I live in Sault Ste. Marie, so they had to I did have to get it done in Toronto. Anyways, I just got the results back about a month later, and they told me that what happened was there is a 2 centimeter space on the head of the head of my left femur that doesn't have any cartilage on it. And they said they see this with people in Perthes disease, because with Perthes disease, blood flow is restricted, right? It's kind of cut off. So naturally, he said, the cartilage would die. And that's what happened to me. So what they're recommending at this point is what's called an osteochondral allograft, okay? And Dr. Alan Gross, who is kind of like the pioneer, apparently, of this procedure, will be performing it, along with Dr. Cusick and the team. Anyways, what it is you have to wait for a donor, and when that donor comes in, you're warned within a week's notice. It can take up to 2 to 6 months. And when they find you that donor, you have a week to head into surgery, because there's about a 7-day window between of when you can take the cartilage to use it from the donor, who is deceased. So anyways, what they do is they take I guess, a piece of cartilage, and it's a transplant to you. And he said it can give you from anywhere between 5 and 20 years. If I didn't resort to the surgery, basically what would be happening is the arthritis in my hip would simply get worse, and it would eventually lead to no cartilage on my hip joint at all, like covering the head of my femur, because right now there's still some left, and eventually it would just lead to none, and the pain would be pretty much getting worse and worse with the arthritis, right? So, and it would eventually just lead to a hip replacement to treat the pain. There would be nothing else. So this surgery seems like right now the only option. Up until this point, everything has gone amazingly well. My right hip is doing wonderful, knock on wood. But it hasn't given me much problems. I swim a lot. I swam when I was first diagnosed, I swam every second day for 30 minutes, and I took herbal remedies, bone growth pills, and I did extremely well, the doctor said. I was doing extremely well, but you know what though, as you get older, I guess these things are probably expected. Anyways, I'm taking nursing, so I'm a little worried how this is going to impact my nursing career, but at this point, all I can do is keep my head up. I just want to let any of you know, if anyone out there is watching this video and has any questions or has Perthes disease and is wondering what we did, I'm definitely here. If you have any questions about that, I'm definitely willing to open up and let you guys know, because when I was young and I was first diagnosed with Perthes disease, I had no idea what I was doing. And, we didn't really talk to anybody who had gone through the same thing. So, if you're worried, you're wondering what you should do, or, what some other treatment options that can help, non-pharmacological, pharmacological, anything, okay, definitely don't feel free to comment, and you can email me, anything like that. Thanks.